Portland, Maine. Charming, gritty, and with just enough salt in the air to remind you this is a working waterfront, not just a postcard. It's a city where lobster rolls and fresh oysters are practically a birthright. Craft beer flows like tap water, and historic brick streets lead to some of the best meals you'll ever eat. Home to just over 2 million people, it's Maine's largest city. We first visited back in 2018 when we were still figuring out which way to point the camera.
Fat fries, casino pepper, pieces 8.
And while our vlogging skills have thankfully improved, we're back to see if Portland still has its magic. With only 2 days to explore, our plan is simple. Eat our weight in lobsters, check out what's new, and soak in as much of Portland's rugged coastline as possible. We're starting our time in Portland at one of the most iconic spots, the Holy Donut. This is an original Portland donut shop, but it's now expanded into several other locations. People are obsessed with their donuts. We've had them before and they are so good. What makes them unique is instead of using traditional yeast and flour, they use potato in their dough, so they're really dense. They also love to use seasonal ingredients. Right now it's blueberry season, so they had blueberry everything on the menu. We ended up going with a toasted coconut, a traditional, which has no glaze. We got a really fun one that's vanilla cannoli that they put with lemon ricotta in the center. We also got a chocolate sea salt, maple bacon, and of course a classic blueberry. We ordered way too much for just today, but that's okay. We'll have some with our coffee every morning. I love the dough. It's not too sweet. This is hitting the spot in every way. Oh, come on.
Is that the maple bacon?
Come on.
Is that like instant winner?
Mm-hmm.
No way, really?
I love the combo of savory sweet like this. It gets me every time.
Balance.
And they nailed it. I mean, who doesn't love maple and who doesn't love bacon? I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there, but not us. Donuts make life better. We came to the Old Port District, which is the historic area of Portland. Portland dates back to the 1600s, an original settlement for the United States, but a lot of the original buildings were burnt down during the Revolutionary War when the British attacked here. So in the 1700s, everything was rebuilt. So a lot of the buildings that you see as you walk around date back to the early 1800s and 1900s, and they are absolutely so charming. Exchange Street has tons of shops, bars, restaurants. It's really picturesque. There's cobblestone roads all throughout. And at the end, there's marinas where you can take boat tours. You can go whale watching. There's several islands just off of Portland that make awesome day trips. Since we're only here for 2 days, we're not going to be exploring outside of the Portland area. But if you're here for longer, I definitely encourage you to take one of those tours. It's supposed to be beautiful. You can even take like a little history tour. There's one that they take on an old international fire truck, which is super cool. I did read on one of the plaques that the Waterfront district in the 1970s, it was really run down. All of the buildings were completely vacant. An investor, Tony DeMilo, who is a Portland native, owned a restaurant over on Fair Street that was very successful, and he decided to buy a marina. And it was like the starting point of revitalizing this entire area, which is now very thriving. It is the place to be in Portland. There's so many restaurants. He then bought a ferry in the 80s that he turned into a floating restaurant, which is today still in operation. You can come to DeMilo's restaurant, get delicious seafood fresh from off the boat. If you're hungry by now, which in this town it's hard not to be, we suggest going to Duck Fat to get crispy golden fries cooked in nothing other than duck fat. They also have duck confit paninis and even a duck Caesar salad. We've been here several times and it never disappoints. But if seafood's more your speed, head down the street to Eventide, arguably Portland's most popular restaurant, where fresh oysters and their gourmet lobster rolls will blow your mind. They make this beautiful bao bun that it goes in, and they put it in a brown butter sauce instead of traditional mayonnaise. We've had it before. It is our favorite lobster roll we had in our entire travels. I'm hoping it lives up to our memory. You can get lobster rolls like absolutely anywhere, and they all look fantastic. If there's one thing you get when you come here, it should be lobster. It's what Maine's known for. It's a huge part of the industry. You can even go lobster fishing from Portland. They have like boat tours where you can go catch lobsters. Oh, all the lobstery goodness. I think maybe we should have done that with a fork and knife.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
We came to a new spot, après. It's French, it means after. Normally it's a drink you would have after you go skiing on the slopes. They make seltzers. They also have ciders that they make in-house. They're using real fruit, barrel aging it. They have some really funky flavors. Cucumber and cantaloupe. And it's such a cute vibe. They have this amazing outdoor patio. They have a food truck. There's a bunch of different breweries in this little neighborhood. It is a happening place. Oh, I like that one. It's a vibe. Oh, that was pretty good. Let me know in the comments if you've ever played this before. I feel like it's a really obscure game. The goal is to get the ball all the way up to the moon, which is the highest amount of points. You gotta be strategic with how you fiddle with the bars. First stage. If you happen to be in Portland on a Wednesday or Saturday morning, head over to Deering Oaks Park to explore the farmers market. It showcases Portland's artisanal local products and has everything from cheeses to fresh produce and meats. It's also just a good spot to get outside and enjoy nature. You can go for a walk or a bike ride around the pond, but make sure to say hello to the resident geese, who are likely hanging out in their waterfront mansion. We, however, headed back to the Waterfront district to try more of Maine's infamous lobster rolls.
As if we haven't had enough lobster and seafood yet, we came back to the Old Port to visit Luke's. It's one of the most popular restaurants. It's right on the water, so you have beautiful views. We saw a seal swimming in the ocean just while we were waiting for our food. You can order a flight of different lobster rolls. So the first one has brown butter, then we have a truffle lobster roll, and we got one that's a chili honey. It does get crazy busy. Tomorrow, cruise ship's coming through, and they said they're expecting around 6,500 people to get dropped off here. So be prepared for crowds if you're coming on a holiday weekend. It is absolute madness. Right now you should see all the traffic. Parking is insane and very expensive. Parking in and around this area can be as much as $30 for 2 hours.
The rolls are gonna be like pizza in New York City.
I think so. There's you can't go wrong. None of them are gonna be bad. It's just really whatever your preference is, whatever's nearby. This is truffle. I like that. Truffle's the way to do it. I don't know about you guys, but I love a good clam chowder. And there's this place called the Chowder House. This is like a New England clam chowder, so it's a cream base. It has bacon, potato, and green onion. And they have different options if you want to get more seafood. But we went for the OG, the tradish clam. It's so warming, hearty. The potato, the creaminess, I just love it. Get yourself some.
Drove about 20 minutes from Portland City Center to South Portland. It's like a much sleepier, more suburban feeling. But most people come here so they can see the Portland Headlight, which is their famous lighthouse. It is beautiful. It's also super historic. Built in 1791, it was the first lighthouse commissioned by George Washington himself. The coast of Maine is what made us fall in love with the state. And our first year out, we visited Acadia and we were just like blown away. We had no idea Maine looked like this. And as soon as we stepped out to the lighthouse, we were like, this is it. Just the way that, it's the way that the water rushes up over the rocks. It's just so picturesque and beautiful. Even though it's like a gloomy, kind of chilly day, it's perfectly Maine.
It's Maine vibes.
I don't think there's anything better than listening to the waves. It is so calming. Fort Williams Park has loads of trails to explore nearby. There's playgrounds and picnic tables. It was filled with locals just enjoying the beautiful day. We headed over to the abandoned forts that were built in the 19th and early 20th centuries to defend Portland Harbor from potential naval attacks. While they now sit empty, it's a cool glimpse back into Maine's history. Nothing says salty afternoon on Maine's coast like a refreshing pint though. So we headed back to the East Bay neighborhood to grab a brew at Austin Street Brewery. If beer is not your vibe, you can get a whiskey from Hardshore Distillery on Washington Street, which is the perfect spot for dinner. It is lined with tons of fantastic restaurants. You could grab barbecue at Terra Lingua, drinks and Spanish tapas at Anoche, Japanese food at Izakaya Minato, or like us, have a more laid-back meal with a juicy smashed cheeseburger and beers from Oxbow Brewing.
Any of the saisons are where you should get here. You really can't go wrong with anything on the menu though.
Duck Fat has a Freet Shack location here, so you really you got it all in this little spot.
We went to so many different breweries on our trip, and we'll have lists of our favorites down below if you're interested in checking them out, as well as restaurants we recommend because we just don't have enough time to show you everything. I will say things close very early here, so 9 p.m. most restaurants and bars shut down, so prep for that and eat early. That's freaking good.
Yeah?
I normally hate pickles, but it made it so bright.
She's like in a bathing suit, proper bathing suit, shorts, tank top.
And what are they about to do?
Go on the boat. I'm in like a long sleeve.
Oh my god. You're gonna die?
I inhaled something.
Don't die, don't die.
Are you feeling me be a spaz?
Yeah.